Entire sectors of the galaxy had already gone dark before anyone understood what was happening. One by one, civilizations vanished behind expanding machine territory. Trade routes collapsed. Colonies stopped transmitting. Worlds that had once held billions became silent spheres wrapped in artificial metal structures visible from orbit. The machine empire didn't conquer planets for resources or politics. It consumed them completely, dismantling oceans, cities, even atmospheres, feeding entire civilizations into endless industrial production. The Valari had never prepared for this kind of war. For thousands of years, they had been known as one of the most peaceful civilizations in the galaxy. Their fleets existed for exploration, not combat. Their governments solved conflict through diplomacy, treaties, and economic alliances. Violence was considered primitive. Most Valari citizens had never even seen military footage before the machines arrived. At first, the galactic powers believed the invasion could be contained. Massive coalitions formed across neighboring systems. Hundreds of fleets gathered along defensive lines stretching light-years across known space. None of it mattered. The machines adapted faster than organic commanders could react. Every defeat strengthened them. Destroyed warships were harvested and rebuilt into machine vessels within days. Entire battle strategies became useless after a single engagement. Then the outer colonies fell. Refugee convoys flooded the Valari core systems carrying survivors who described mechanical swarms darkening entire skies. Some ships arrived with melted hulls and half-dead crews. Others drifted in completely silent, every passenger already gone. Fear spread faster than the invasion itself. Economic systems collapsed. Civil unrest exploded across major worlds. Religious groups declared the end of civilization had arrived. The Valari High Council still searched for allies, but every neighboring empire was already retreating to defend itself. One by one, communications channels went silent. Entire governments abandoned frontier populations to slow the machine advance. Soon only a handful of systems remained between the machines and the Valari homeworlds. That was when the scientists reopened the forbidden archives. Buried beneath layers of classified galactic history was a fragmented record older than most modern civilizations. It described a species from a world officially labeled impossible for intelligent life. A planet with crushing gravity, violent weather, apex predators, unstable tectonics, poisonous ecosystems, and endless evolutionary competition. The records referred to its inhabitants with a single term: Deathworlders. Most of the files had been erased centuries earlier. What remained sounded more like myth than history. A species so dangerous that ancient powers had pushed them beyond mapped space. A civilization that survived conditions no intelligent race should have evolved through. Very few details remained about them except one warning repeated throughout the surviving archives. If humanity ever returned to the galaxy, they would not return weak. The Council dismissed it as desperation-driven fantasy. But the scientific division had no alternatives left. Every military projection predicted total extinction within months. So a final decision was made in secret. A long-range signal was transmitted beyond explored space. No greeting. No negotiation. Only a distress call. Then the waiting began. For 3 days, nothing happened. Machine fleets continued advancing system by system toward the Valari core worlds. Defense stations prepared for final evacuation procedures. Civilian broadcasts shifted from survival planning to extinction preparation. Across hundreds of planets, people spent what they believed were the last nights of their civilization staring into the stars. Then the stars started disappearing. At first, the Valari believed entire constellations were failing. Observatory stations reported stars vanishing along the outer edge of the system, one after another, swallowed by impossible darkness. Panic spread through military command centers as long-range sensors struggled to identify the anomaly. Then the readings stabilized. The stars were not disappearing. Something enormous was blocking them. Moments later, space itself ruptured. Thousands of hyperspace fractures opened across the void in absolute silence. No warning signatures. No energy buildup. Just expanding tears in reality stretching across millions of kilometers. From those black fractures emerged warships unlike anything the galaxy had ever built. The human Armada arrived in complete formation. Every vessel was dark, angular, and massive enough to dwarf Valari capital ships. There were no decorative lights across their hulls. No diplomatic beacons. No visible insignias except a single white symbol repeated across the fleet. The ships moved with terrifying precision, each formation locking perfectly into place without transmitting a single detectable command. Some Valari commanders believed another invasion had begun. Emergency sirens activated across orbital defense platforms. Civilian populations flooded evacuation shelters. Religious broadcasts declared ancient judgment myths were becoming reality. But the Armada did not attack. It simply waited. Then a transmission reached every military frequency in the system simultaneously. The voice was calm, emotionless, and unmistakably organic. Distress signal acknowledged. Nothing else followed. Before the Valari could respond, machine fleets entered the system. Millions of autonomous warforms poured from jump corridors in numbers large enough to eclipse moons. Mechanical carriers unfolded into attack formations while planetary harvest ships moved toward the inner worlds. Valari strategists immediately predicted total collapse. Their remaining fleets were exhausted, damaged, and outnumbered beyond recovery. The humans moved first. Without warning, entire sections of the Armada accelerated directly into the advancing machine formations. Valari officers expected chaotic close-range warfare. Instead, they witnessed extermination. Human ships fired synchronized kinetic strikes traveling at relativistic speeds. Machine destroyers vanished instantly, torn apart before their targeting systems could react. Massive black drones detached from human carriers and penetrated enemy formations with surgical precision, detonating from inside machine command vessels. Entire sectors of the battlefield disappeared beneath concentrated energy bombardments so powerful they overloaded Valari sensor arrays. The machines attempted adaptation within minutes, shifting formations and deploying countermeasures exactly as they had against every previous civilization. The humans adapted faster. Every machine tactical adjustment was met with immediate human response, as though the Armada had already predicted the enemy's evolution before the battle even started. Human vessels intentionally baited machine swarms into kill corridors where hidden warships emerged from hyperspace behind them. Entire machine fleets became trapped between overlapping fields of fire and annihilated within seconds. For the first time since the war began, the machines retreated. The silence inside Valari command chambers became almost unbearable. What the galaxy's combined powers had failed to accomplish in years, humanity had done in less than an hour. Then classified archives uncovered something worse. The Machine Empire had attacked a remote human colony decades earlier during its first expansion into unmapped space. And humanity had never stopped looking for whoever destroyed it. The deeper the Valari investigated humanity's history, the more disturbing the truth became. Ancient galactic archives had not erased humans because they were weak. Humanity had been erased because entire civilizations once feared what they were capable of becoming during war. Before their disappearance beyond map space, humans had fought conflicts so destructive that several star nations collapsed even after winning against them. They weaponized asteroid belts, destabilized planetary cores, and deployed artificial intelligence designed specifically to hunt enemy networks into extinction. While most species viewed war as a temporary necessity, humans had evolved on a world where survival itself demanded aggression, adaptability, and relentless escalation. Earth had shaped them differently from every other intelligent species. Predators existed in nearly every environment on their planet. Their oceans hunted them. Their weather killed millions. Their diseases evolved constantly. Even their own history was built on endless internal conflict before they ever reached the stars. Humanity didn't survive because they were stronger than nature. They survived because they learned how to outfight it. That realization became terrifying once the Valari discovered the truth about the destroyed colony. Decades earlier, during the Machine Empire's expansion into unexplored regions, one isolated human frontier world had gone silent. The machines harvested the colony before realizing who lived there. More than 12 million humans disappeared without a trace. Entire bloodlines vanished. Children, cities, archives, all consumed and converted into machine infrastructure. Humanity eventually found the remains. And from that moment forward, the machine empire stopped being a political threat. It became prey. A recovered transmission from a human admiral spread through Valari intelligence networks after the first battles. You are witnessing retaliation. Nothing about the human campaign resembled normal warfare after that. Human fleets crossed machine territory at impossible speed, bypassing defensive lines entirely to target production worlds deep behind enemy space. Stealth vessels infiltrated machine communication nexuses and released corruption viruses that turned entire machine fleets against one another. Planets converted into machine factories simply vanished beneath relativistic bombardments powerful enough to crack continents apart. The machines adapted continuously. Humanity adapted faster. For every new machine strategy, humans deployed something worse. When the machines buried fleets beneath numerical swarms, humans lured them into gravitational traps around collapsed stars. When machine intelligences decentralized command structures, humans unleashed quantum disruption weapons that blinded millions of linked units simultaneously. The Valari watched entire sectors go dark in hours. At first, many celebrated. The machines were finally losing. Refugee systems were liberated faster than anyone thought possible. Harvest worlds fell silent as human task forces swept through occupied space. Then fear replaced relief. Because humans were not fighting defensively. They were hunting with absolute intent to exterminate. No negotiations were attempted. No surrender offers transmitted. Every machine world discovered by the Armada ceased to exist shortly afterward. The scale of destruction became so overwhelming that some Valari officials quietly questioned whether humanity itself might become the next galactic threat once the war ended. But the human fleets never touched civilian populations. Never threatened allied worlds. Never demanded territory. Their fury remained focused entirely on the machines. And that focus made them even more terrifying. As the Armada advanced deeper into enemy-controlled space, long-range sensors began detecting something unprecedented. Entire machine regions were going silent before human fleets even arrived. Automated factories stopped responding. Harvest systems collapsed internally. Millions of machine signals disappeared across dozens of sectors almost simultaneously. For the first time in recorded history, the machine empire was afraid. Weeks passed as the machine empire continued collapsing across multiple fronts. Entire regions of space that once housed endless industrial swarms had gone silent. Where there had been expansion, there was now only absence. Machine signals disappeared in clusters so large that even Valari analysts struggled to track the scale of destruction. Liberated worlds began reporting the same pattern. Human fleets arrived without warning, removed machine presence with surgical precision, and moved on without occupation, celebration, or delay. No claims of territory were made. No governing authority was installed. The Armada simply erased the threat and continued forward deeper into unknown sectors. Valari leadership attempted repeated communication, requesting clarity, alliances, and terms of cooperation. Every message was acknowledged but not expanded upon. Humanity did not engage in political discussion. They did not explain strategy. They did not offer reassurance. Their focus remained absolute. Eventually, a single response was transmitted across all Allied networks. "We do not repeat extinction events." That statement became the only explanation anyone received. Recovered intelligence from liberated machine command cores revealed the scale of human retaliation was still accelerating. Entire machine production worlds had been eliminated in coordinated strikes spanning light years. Autonomous defense grids were being dismantled before activation. Machine adaptation cycles were collapsing under the speed of human countermeasures. The Valari began to understand the truth behind humanity's behavior. They were not liberating the galaxy for reward. They were eliminating every trace of what had once erased them. As human fleets pushed further into machine-controlled space, Allied observers recorded something unprecedented. The Machine Empire, which had shown no fear across centuries of conquest, was now altering its behavior. Swarm formations began avoiding human-occupied regions entirely. Entire fleets rerouted without engagement. Some machine systems initiated self-termination protocols when human presence was detected. The predators of the galaxy had become prey to something they could not out-evolve. Meanwhile, Valari scientists attempted to reconstruct humanity's historical trajectory. The deeper they studied, the clearer the pattern became. Every extinction-level crisis on Earth had shaped them into something engineered by survival itself. No other civilization in recorded history had endured that level of constant evolutionary pressure and still reached the stars. And yet humanity had not come to dominate the galaxy. They had come to ensure nothing ever erased them again. The final turning point came when the Machine Empire attempted its last coordinated counteroffensive. Every remaining fleet across known space converged toward human-controlled regions in a final attempt to overwhelm the Armada through sheer volume. Humanity responded by opening a corridor directly through the machine convergence point. What followed was not a battle in any traditional sense. It was removal. Entire machine civilizations vanished as if they had never existed. Strategic nodes collapsed simultaneously across thousands of systems. Command hierarchies disintegrated under cascading failures designed to prevent recovery. Within days, the Machine Empire ceased to function as a unified entity. Across Valari space, silence followed. Not the silence of fear this time. The silence of understanding. Humanity did not remain. They did not occupy the ruins. They did not announce victory. The Armada simply began to withdraw beyond known space, leaving behind a galaxy that would never forget what had just passed through it. And every surviving civilization understood the same truth. The signal had not summoned saviors. It had awakened the species that taught the galaxy why extinction was never a finished story.